Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday night loving kindness class at the Dharma Bum Temple. Hello to everybody. My name is Alex. Wonderful to be here with you today. I can use some loving kindness. And I think we can all could use some loving kindness. Hopefully you did not torture yourself and watch the debate yesterday. Keep on telling people. You're not going to get any new information. Just don't watch it. Don't watch that train wreck. But you know, it's been hard. You know, it's super hot. It was 101 here just at the temple today. You know, and we're in Hillcrest University Heights, so kind of San Diego proper. I can't imagine what it was like in like East County, for example. It must have been like 110 degrees. And it's hot, and that's fine. It's so hot that my dream house is any house in Alaska. That was a joke I got off the internet. At work, when we're going through what we're going to do every day, we have these two meetings, and between the two meetings, someone has to tell a joke. And so we all tell dad jokes, essentially, just silly, corny jokes. And I don't know, I just thought I'd share one. You can't see, but there's a fan right there that Travis has graciously provided, and it's really hot. My butt's still sweating, though, I'll tell you that much. And that's just what it's like, when it's hot, and it's just what it is. You can complain about it, and I don't feel like complaining about it. Or maybe I do feel like complaining about it, but with humor instead of getting so angry and upset and all those different types of emotions that we feel, that we probably already feel. It's all right. This is not a time for that. And I know, like I said, I know how hard it is. Last weekend I was being not so loving and kind when a parade of political folks in cars was driving down the coast highway while I was trying to eat. So, not my best choice, but it's all right. I'm also a work in progress. For those of you who are new, welcome. If you are new, if you could say something in the chat, just say hi and what your name is. And if you're from somewhere other than San Diego or other than San Diego County, that'd be great. I'd love to hear from you. If you aren't new, say hello. I would love to hear from you. And if you're not from San Diego County, let me know. So I'm always interested to know exactly where people are from. Are you all local, or are there some people in different parts of California, or different parts of the country, or different parts of the world even? We go out everywhere. It is the internet. So again, it's wonderful to be here. This is the class on loving kindness here at the Dharma Bum Temple, and the word that we use in Buddhism is Metta, M-E-T-T-A. At least they use that in the Theravada tradition, Metta. And this is an ancient word from an ancient language called Pali, which is a language we think the Buddha actually spoke, or at least close to it, at least. And because it's a word from an ancient language from 2,500 years ago, when it's translated into modern day English, it can have a number of different meanings. It can have a meaning of loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, goodwill. And it's simply a wish to be happy. A wish for ourselves to be happy, a wish for others to be happy. And more than that, it's a wish for ourselves and others to do the things that cause happiness. So what causes happiness? Our positive words, our positive thoughts, our positive deeds. Think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. That's the motto of the Dharma Bum Temple, and it's really the motto of the loving kindness class as well, because that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to cultivate a heart of loving kindness. And so that's what we're going to do. And we do it, in a couple of different ways. If you read the Metta Sutta, which is the Buddha's discourse on loving kindness, he says, radiating kindness to the entire world. And so one way of doing it is just imagine yourself radiating kindness to your intended target, whether it's the entire world, whether it's to your benefactor, whether it's to your enemies. It doesn't matter. You can just radiate kindness in whatever way that you want to do that. I like to imagine like this beam of loving kindness coming from my heart to the heart of the intended target or targets, or just spreading out over the entire world. And maybe this beam can have different colors. Maybe it can vibrate or pulse in a way that I can feel it, in a way that it's tangible. And so those instructions are from 2,500 years ago, but for years I never learned it that way. For years I just learned it as you repeat phrases over and over, which is also a good way. Phrases like, may you be happy. May you be safe from inner and outer danger. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at peace and live at ease in this world. And so these phrases I've kind of modified a little bit for us, but they're pretty traditional. And it's the way that I learned it, 13, 14 years ago. And it's the way that it's traditionally taught. But I don't always like that word tradition. There's different ways to do it. And now a lot of monks, when teaching loving kindness, they just say radiate. Just radiate it out. So I'm going to give the choice to you. You can either say these words if they're meaningful to you, and you don't have to say all of the phrases. You can just say one phrase. A lot of times I don't feel like saying all of those phrases. I just want to say, may you be happy. And then I have this intention behind that. And my intention is, may you be happy, but may you do the things that cause happiness. And that's another great thing about this practice is its unselfish nature. Even though it seems selfish to some, because you're wishing yourself loving kindness, you're just wishing yourself that you do the things that cause happiness, and other people to do the things that cause happiness. And in this way, because we know what happiness is and how to create this happiness are positive words, thoughts, and actions. My happiness never interferes with your happiness. Your happiness doesn't interfere with my happiness. And so, as a practice, it's completely unselfish. And if you think of it in this way, you can just even be happier about it. So you won't even have that thought of selfishness in you. So Travis, has anyone said anything?
Yes. So Eric said, hi, Alex. I did watch last night. I had to confirm it would be the train wreck I anticipated.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you made that confirmation. Thanks, Eric. Anyone else?
Jeremy said, hi from Jeremy and Jen, just down the street, University Heights.
Hi, Jeremy and Jen.
Marcel said, hello, Alex.
Hello, Marcel.
Amelia said, hey, I'm Amelia tuning in from Bay Area.
Nice. Oh my God.
And Tamara said hello as well.
Hi, Tamara.
And Jean said, hi, Alex. Thanks for teaching this class.
Hi, Jean. Jean and I are very alike. Okay. Hi, Jean. So, there are different ways to do this practice. There was the traditional way that I was taught, and there's another way. And this other way is the way we've been doing it for a while. I'm going to continue to do it because I really like it. And I think other people really like it too. And we're not going to start with ourselves, even though that's the most important, right? Always having loving kindness for ourselves. But we're gonna gently ease our way into loving kindness for ourselves. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to wish loving kindness for our benefactor. And a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love and great kindness. You know, someone who it's really easy to have these feelings for. You just think of this person and you smile. You just think of this person and you can imagine or you can even maybe even feel your heart getting bigger and warmer. And you can then either radiate loving kindness to them, or you can repeat the phrases over and over. However many you like, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or more, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. You can make up your own phrase, so long as it has this loving and kind intention behind it. You know? And then we're going to imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us. And, you know, a really good thing to do when we're imagining this same benefactor or another benefactor, you can choose another one if you want, doing this for us is we can begin to understand if there's any resistance in our own heart to loving kindness. And when you imagine your benefactor doing this for us, and you can even put your hand over your heart, which I recommend you do whether you're new to it or not, actually, and feel, is there any resistance there? And if there's any tightness or resistance or rigidity or coldness or anything like that, can you reserve any judgment for that? And just know that it's there. And can you maybe even breathe into it a little bit? Maybe softening it or loosening it. Because the thing that we don't want to do is start having judgment just because of this kind of tightening of our heart. And, you know, yeah, having your hand over your heart is really, really, really useful. And then, finally, we're going to do this practice for ourselves. And you can keep your hand over your heart, repeating these phrases for you, or you can even imagine radiating loving kindness back on yourself, or imagine your heart getting bigger and warmer. And then we're going to do it for all beings. And so it's a little bit modified, so we don't start with ourselves first. I like this a lot. And are there any questions before we start, or did anyone else say hello? So because I've given you a lot of instructions already, I'm going to give less instructions during the meditation. But I'll still guide it, of course, right? And let's see how we do. I'd really like to know what your experience of this meditation was afterwards, or if you have any questions on Buddhism or loving kindness or anything else you want to know. I'm happy to answer these questions. And I love these questions because they help me feel engaged with you and connected to you. So don't be shy. All right, so let's begin, shall we? So just allow your eyes to close, making sure that you have that seat that's nice and comfortable for you, nice and sustainable, nice and easy. And when we sit like a Buddha. We can imagine ourselves as the Buddha sitting underneath the Bodhi tree of enlightenment, Or you can even pick your own tree, your own type of tree, and that's your enlightenment. It could be an oak tree or a sequoia or a redwood or anything else. Ready for this loving kindness meditation. At first, it helps to take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. Not forcing it at first, letting the breath be quite easy and quite natural. Letting the body and mind relax into the breath without a care in the world. Letting go of the past and letting go of the future. And just settling into this moment. Feeling all the different qualities of the breath as it goes into the nostrils and how it exits the nostrils. Feeling all the places in the body that the breath can affect, that the breath can calm. So just for the next few moments, just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of the breath. Now to begin our formal practice of loving kindness, we will think about our benefactor. We'll choose a benefactor. And again, a benefactor is anyone who's shown us great love or great kindness, someone it's really easy to do this practice for. Someone where it's no struggle whatsoever. You can either imagine yourself radiating loving kindness to them or repeating as many of the phrases as you want. So we'll do this for the next few minutes. Wishing our benefactor loving kindness. And now shift our focus a little bit, and you can choose the same benefactor, choose a different one. You're going to imagine them doing this practice for you, either by radiating or repeating the words. The choice is yours. It could be more than one benefactor, that's okay. Maybe even putting your hand over your heart, looking for any resistance. Just breathing into it if you find it. No judgment, no evaluation. So we'll do this for the next few minutes. And now, the most important part of this meditation, now that we've kind of warmed ourselves up, we can begin to repeat these phrases to ourselves, or just imagining radiating this in on ourselves, this wonderful feeling of loving kindness. But first of all, just call to mind your own wish to be happy, your own wish to be safe and healthy, free from danger, free from pain. And know that this wish you have for yourself is the same wish everyone has for themselves. So if you can connect to that while you're doing this for yourself, it can be most helpful. You can keep your hand over your heart, listening for any tightness or tension, breathing into that with no judgment whatsoever. So let's do this for the next few moments, having loving kindness for ourselves. And so finally, it's a lot of loving kindness. So we can now do this practice for all beings in all directions, no matter where they are, no matter who they are. We'll do this for the last few moments of our meditation. So just open your eyes when you're ready. Take the next moment or two out in silence as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs. Perhaps giving gratitude for this practice. And we'll begin. have a question or a comment on the instructions, on what this experience of meditation was like for you, questions on Buddhism, whatever you want to say is fine. I don't really, it doesn't matter that much. I'd love to hear from you. All right. Well, that was good for me. I went ahead and did it a little bit of a different way. Instead of giving a ton of instruction during the meditation, I just talked about it for a while beforehand. And in this way, I just wanted to give you less time with listening to me talk and more time of you just actually doing the practice. And so I kind of switch it up from time. Hopefully you're all rested now and out of your haze. Travis, do you have any questions?
Not yet.
Not yet? Oh my gosh. Well, I'll give you a little bit more time. So while you're figuring out what you want to ask in there, and I say this a lot, I'm probably going to say it still a lot. I know a lot of people yesterday afternoon and yesterday morning were gearing up for the debate. I saw a lot of comments on social media that they're going to have to, oh my God, this is going to be horrible. Let's break out the wine. Oh my God, this is going to be, let's play the drinking game. All those different types of things that you hear on social media, Twitter, Facebook. I spend less time on Facebook, more time on Twitter these days. But still, there was a lot of that kind of talk. And, this is a time, like I say all the time, of great uncertainty and fear. And it's really important that we are extra mindful of what causes suffering for us during this time. That we are crystal clear about what causes suffering. Because the entire time during the debate, even though I wasn't watching, I was paying attention to social media, and the comments that you would see, or the comments that I saw, were, oh my God, this, and oh my God, that, and all these different types of things, whether they were, Buddhist people, whether they were not Buddhist people, then especially, a couple people from here, I'm like, well, you knew what was going to happen. None of this should be a surprise to you. You don't have to watch. You don't have to. And so there will be more things like this happening, whether it's debate or something else. And so understand, be very mindful of what causes you suffering. I know you know what it is. And I think you know what it is. Because I know you know what it is. And you know what it is. And I think I know you know what it is. We're a knowledgeable group. So just pick one of those things and don't watch it and see what happens. There might be some FOMO, fear of missing out, perhaps. But so what? You can do something else. You can sit and you can meditate. That's a perfect time to meditate. Yesterday during the debate, Jeff had his regular Tuesday class. And I noticed it had not a lot less people, but less people. Certainly less people than normal, less by about maybe a third. And I know what they were doing. Right? So of course they're doing all that sorts of stuff. And this should be an easy time to practice, now that I think about it. It's easy because the things that cause us suffering are so obvious to them. Obvious to us now. Because they're heightened. They're heightened. And they got heightened for me big time last weekend. And afterwards I'm like, well, maybe that wasn't the best choice. And I felt bad about it for a day or so. And then it's like, yeah, just let it go. Because I didn't want to punish myself anymore for that.
Gene shared, the heat makes me lethargic. No questions, just gratitude.
Yeah. The heat makes me lethargic too. It's like when at the beginning of this class, it was still kind of light out. It was dusky, and it was a lot hotter than it is right now, even though we're only like 45, 50 minutes in. And when it gets hot, I don't always do great in the hot. And that's a triggering time for me, because I grew up in southern Louisiana where it's hot and humid a lot. And I spent many nights without air conditioning, hot and humid. And so when it gets that way here, it can sometimes be, a little bit of flashbacks, it's like, oh, this doesn't feel good at all. So I hear you, Gene. I don't like it when it's hot either. But again, it's good for practice.
Jeremy asks, have you already addressed why we no longer send love to our enemies during meditation? I am just curious.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, Jeremy. And it's not that we've stopped, right? We can do that. And that's fine. And that's part of the practice. But what I've come to realize in my own practice and in what I've seen in teaching others for a few years is that we're still too hard on ourselves. And when I was doing this practice the other way, where you would do it for yourself first, then the benefactor, then the neutral person, then the enemy who is furthest away from your heart. And I said for the enemy to not go to your mortal enemy who you hate the most, just do it to the minorly annoying person at first, just to kind of get used to it. People still went to the enemy, their mortal enemy. And so there was a lot of difficulty there, and that's okay. But I was thinking about this a lot, and I said, there has to be another way to do this now. There has to be a better way for people who were not brought up Buddhist, who were not trained as Buddhist, who were not trained in respect from the age of 2 and having monks come by and learning how to bow for the monks and learning how to put the little bowl of rice or the little spoonful of rice in the monk's bowl and learning that from a young age. None of us were like that. And so learning and coming across Buddhism as adults, there's a lot of catch-up that we need to do in connecting to our own heart, in realizing our innate goodness if we develop it. And that's why loving kindness for ourselves is still so hard for so many people here. And it's always been that way. And so I was doing this time after time after time after time, repeating the phrases and always starting with ourselves. And honestly, I wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't getting anywhere with the loving kindness class. And I thought there needs to be another way. And I talked about this last week where I said that if you only did loving kindness for yourself for 10 years, that would be perfectly acceptable. Because of how we are conditioned in this culture, how we are conditioned in this country. If that's the only thing we did for 10 years, that would be fine. And I thought about that a lot over this last week, and I thought, yeah, it's not that we can't do loving kindness for the enemy or that I won't include this as part of this class again. Of course I will. But for now, it's so important, especially now, especially during this time, especially over the next 30 to 45 days. Because I remember how it was 4 years ago, and I know you know how it was 4 years ago. And it was the same way 8 years ago, and 12 years ago, and 16 years ago, and 20 years ago. It's just become amplified now. Times of elections where they're incredibly polarizing, and no one candidate gets more than 55% of the vote. That hasn't happened since 20 years at least. And so you have about half the people who are going to be really disappointed in the result of the election every single time, without fail. Half of the country. It doesn't matter who you vote for. So if there was any time to really focus on loving kindness for yourself, that time is now. And so that's kind of why I do it now. This way, especially. Yeah, I'll go back to it at some point. But that time isn't now. Hope that answered your question, Jeremy. Thanks. Did anyone else say hello? Nope. No one said hello. Are you all just hot? That's okay. I know it's hot.
Jeremy said, "Thank you, Alex. We actually prefer how we do it now, and we appreciate you."
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, I just like it. I like it a lot. I don't think anyone has ever really said they like it the other way better, or that you just prefer it to do the other way. I mean, that's okay if you would. It's just a preference. But sometimes I balk at the traditional way. The traditional way. I was always a traditional way kind of guy, earlier, and when Buddhism comes to new countries, it evolves to fit the culture of that new country. It was like that for every single country, whether it's Tibet, whether it's China or Japan or Korea or Indonesia, India, wherever it is, the United States is always going to evolve. And so when I hear traditional from 2,500 years ago, or traditional for some other country. Well, maybe it works for some other country. But this isn't some other country, this is this country. And we have different needs because it's coming to this country, in the 20th and 21st century with all of our baggage and all of our conditioning. we need to do things a little differently that's going to work for us. And that's why, sometimes when, there's these monks from foreign countries who come here and they only know their traditional way in their country, which is beautiful and wonderful, but they never take the time, it seems, to really understand us, to try to get us. And say, oh, well, Americans are like this. So maybe I need to modify things a little bit so they'll be able to absorb this a little better, a little easier. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do, this kind of modified ways. Thanks, Jeremy. Anything else? We got time really quick for something? Nope. That's okay. Thank you, guys. It was wonderful to be here with you. This is the Dharma Bum Temple. Somebody say something real quick?
Yeah, Eric did. Eric said this way is good, but I've mentioned I also like the other way to address the stranger and enemy, since I need to work on tolerating other people more than myself.
Right on, brother. It's all good. You can do that. Again, this is Dharma Bum Temple. Glad that you're with us. And so let's join our palms together at our heart, please. And may the benefits of this meditation, this discussion, be received by all beings. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful, and may all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that they are. Thank you for coming. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your week. Bye now.